Let's start with the obvious one, the bounty hunter who launched 1,000 action figures and made us all believe that sometimes the coolest character is the one who barely speaks. Boba Fett. Even saying the name feels like dropping a thermal detonator of cool into any Star Wars conversation. In The Empire Strikes Back, he's the son, and clone, of the bounty hunter Jango Fett, featured in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan Kenobi visited the planet Kamino to investigate a mysterious army. But here's where it gets interesting. Jango Fett was the genetic template for the Republic's clone army, and as payment, he asked for a clone that would age naturally, naming him Boba and treating him as his son. Think about that for a second. Every single clone trooper you see in the Clone Wars, they're all technically Boba's brothers. Talk about a complicated family reunion. But Boba's path to becoming the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter wasn't exactly smooth. Witnessing his father's death at the hands of Jedi Master Mace Windu during the Battle of Geonosis, Boba swore vengeance. During the Clone Wars, young Boba wasn't just sitting around playing with action figures. He led a bounty hunter syndicate during the Clone Wars, working for Otua Blank. Now, what made Vader choose Boba for this particular hunt? Well, reputation speaks volumes. By the time of Empire Strikes Back, Fett had built himself quite the resume. With his customized Mandalorian armor and deadly weapon including his EE-3 carbine rifle, Boba Fett was once regarded as one of the most fearsome bounty hunters in the galaxy. Plus, there's that little exchange between him and Vader that tells us everything we need to know about their history. No disintegrations, implying that not only there have been previous disintegrations, but that Vader is so desperate to get this job done that he has resorted to rehiring the guy who did those disintegrations. Just let that sink in. Vader had to specifically tell Boba not to disintegrate his targets. That's like hiring a demolition expert and having to remind them not to level the entire city block. It speaks both to Fett's effectiveness and his enthusiasm for the job. During the Galactic Civil War, Fett captured Han Solo on Bespin and was allowed by Vader to take the smuggler to Jabba the Hutt, effectively collecting both bounties on Solo's head. 2 bounties, 1 smuggler. Now that's what I call efficiency. The mystique around Boba Fett in the original trilogy was incredible. Boba Fett has 4 moments of voice dialogue consisting of 5 sentences. That's it! 5 sentences, and yet he became one of the most beloved characters in the entire saga. Sometimes, less really is more. If you thought running into a regular lizard was startling, imagine coming face to face with a towering Trandoshan carrying enough firepower to level a city block. That's Bossk for you. And yes, his name literally means devours his prey in Dosh. The scene that introduces Bossk in Empire Strikes Back is pure cinematic gold. An Imperial officer backs away from his computer and turns to face a wall, finding himself suddenly at eye level with a pair of clawed lizard feet. The officer reacts accordingly, and immediately, we cut up to this ant's eye view of a lizard man with a gun. The poor Imperial officer's reaction? Priceless. He basically nopes right out of there faster than you can say Kessel Run. But Bossk isn't just a scary face. Though what a face it is. This Trandoshan bounty hunter comes with serious credentials. Bossk was born on Trandosha, the son of Kradosk, the leader of the Bounty Hunters Guild. Talk about being born into the family business. During the Clone Wars, Bossk wasn't sitting idle. Bossk worked with Aurra Sing and Kastas to train Boba Fett. He later helped him in his attempt to kill Jedi Master Mace Windu. So not only was he mentoring the future most famous bounty hunter in the galaxy, but he was also helping him with his revenge quest. What a supportive colleague. He owned a modified YV-666 Light Freighter that he named the Houndstooth. And let me tell you, if you see the Houndstooth dropping out of hyperspace, it's probably already too late for you. What makes Bossk particularly terrifying isn't just his physical presence, it's his vendetta. He was also an old enemy and rival for Chewbacca and his human partner Han Solo. See, Trandoshans and Wookiees have this little thing called centuries of mutual hatred. As a Trandoshan, Bossk has natural hunting abilities that he uses to make himself a successful bounty hunter. And he is especially skilled at finding Wookiees, a race he hates. So when Vader put out the call to hunt down Han and Chewie, for Bossk, it wasn't just business, it was personal. The Trandoshan hunter took it as a point of honor and revenge to capture his wretched Wookiee enemy and his weak human counterpart. Alright, let's talk about the droid that makes every other killer robot in sci-fi look like a friendly vacuum cleaner. He's the assassin droid, and his story is absolutely bonkers. First, some technical specs to set the mood. IG-88's designers apparently built him over 7 feet tall, which ended up being too big to fit into the shot while filming, so he had to be placed on a lower platform than Darth Vader and the other bounty hunters. That's right, they literally had to put him in a hole because he was too intimidating even for the camera. But here's where it gets wild. IG-88 was manufactured by Holowan Laboratories as an assassin droid, but moments after activation, the original massacred the scientists and escaped. Let me repeat that. Within seconds of being turned on, IG-88 decided, you know what, I think I'll murder everyone in this room. Talk about a bad first day at the office for those scientists. Many people in the galaxy fear droids, with the memories of the Clone Wars still fresh in their minds. Far more terrifying than battle droids were assassin droids, independently programmed mechanical killers that had no masters. And IG-88, he took that independence to a whole new level. Fun fact about his design, the head of IG-88 is a recycled prop from the Star Wars A New Hope cantina scene. That prop is actually a scrap Rolls-Royce jet engine part. So yes, IG-88's head is literally made from Rolls-Royce scrap. Even killer droids have standards. Following the Battle of Hoth, he and several other bounty hunters were summoned by Darth Vader to the Executor and hired to track down the Millennium Falcon and its rebel crew. But for IG-88, this wasn't just about credits. He threatened and captured Kira and hunted Princess Leia Organa before being hired by Darth Vader to track down the Millennium Falcon. The scariest part? IG-88's final appearance in the original Marvel comic Star Wars series was in issue 85, but at least he got a minor cover appearance. Even in defeat, this droid kept coming back like a metallic Terminator with worse social skills and better aim. Now we come to the Dengar, the bounty hunter who looks like he warped his entire head in toilet paper after the galaxy's worst shaving accident. But don't let those bandages fool you. This Corellian has a backstory that'll make you think twice about cutting people off in traffic. Dengar, also known as Dengar the Demolisher, was a Corellian human bounty hunter operating since the early stages of the Clone Wars. The Demolisher nickname tells you everything you need to know about his approach to problem solving. Why use finesse when you can just use explosives? During the Clone Wars, Dengar ran with quite the crew. Dengar participated in an operation on Corzite, during which he served as a member of Krait's Claw, a syndicate of hunters including Boba Fett, Bossk, and Asajj Ventress. That's like being in a band with all the biggest rock stars before they hit it big. While some hunters prided themselves on finesse and style, Dengar preferred firepower and destruction. Despite his scruffy-looking and battered exterior, Dengar thought highly of himself. The man wrapped his head like a mummy and still had the confidence to hit on people. You've got to respect that level of self-assurance. What makes Dengar particularly interesting in the current Star Wars canon is how he's portrayed versus other bounty hunters. It's no secret that Dengar was the least interesting bounty hunter in the group hired by Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back. Over time, that transferred to his backstory being written where almost every other bounty hunter is better than him. But here's the twist. Dengar has chosen to use the galaxy's underestimation to his advantage. When a crime lord tells him, "It's not like I'm staring across the table at Boba Fett or Bossk," Dengar agrees, right before proving why being underestimated is actually his secret weapon. Fun fact courtesy of the fans, Dengar is voiced by Simon Pegg in the Clone Wars. That's right, Scotty from Star Trek jumped universes to voice a Star Wars bounty hunter. The crossover we didn't know we needed. Imagine if C-3PO decided one day that instead of translating languages and calculating odds, he'd rather steal your wallet and maybe shoot you in the face. That's basically 4LOM's origin story, and it's absolutely fantastic. 4LOM was originally a protocol droid, but logic glitches allowed him to escape his programming and become a bounty hunter. Logic glitches is a nice way of saying this droid looked at his programming, said nah, and decided crime was way more fun than customer service. 4LOM was an LOM series protocol droid manufactured by Industrial Automaton who was programmed by a specific individual. The name 4LOM has been interpreted by fans as potentially meaning for love of money, which, given by his career choices, seems pretty appropriate. What's fascinating about 4LOM is his career progression. Protocol droid who overwrote his own programming because he was bored with his existence, 4LOM started out as a master thief, information broker, and, after some further altering of his programming, became a successful bounty hunter. That's like going from accountant to cat burglar to assassin. Talk about a midlife crisis. But here's the best part. 4LOM didn't work alone. He often worked together with Grand Findsman Zuckuss. And their partnership? Pure comedy gold. 4LOM spent a great many years studying and observing Zuckuss in an attempt to master skills and intuition, despite knowing it was illogical. Picture this, a logical protocol droid trying to learn intuition from an insectoid mystic. It's like Data from Star Trek trying to understand feelings, but with more murder. The ship 4LOM and Zuckuss own is named the Mist Hunter. It's a modified G-1A starfighter, because when you're a bounty hunting odd couple, you need a ship with an appropriately dramatic name. The visual design of 4LOM is particularly striking. Produced by Industrial Automaton to serve insectoid species in the Star Wars galaxy, the LOM series droids are unique for their insect-like head and notable compound eyes. So we have a droid designed to look like an insect to better serve insect species, who then goes rogue and becomes a bounty hunter. You can't make this stuff up, man. Shortly after the Battle of Hoth, both 4LOM and Zuckuss assembled, along with fellow bounty hunters Boba Fett, Dengar, Bosk, and IG-88 aboard the Super Star Destroyer Executor and were hired by Darth Vader to locate the Millennium Falcon. What I personally love about 4LOM is that he represents the ultimate screw this job energy. He was literally programmed to be helpful and polite and instead chose violence and larceny. That's a career pivot that would make any LinkedIn influencer jealous. Last but absolutely not least, we have Zuckuss, the bounty hunter who brings a little mysticism to the murder party. And trust me, his story is way weirder than you'd expect from a guy who looks like he's wearing a gas mask to a costume party. Zuckuss was a Force-sensitive male Grand Findsman who worked as a bounty hunter prior to and during the Galactic Civil War. Yep, you heard that right, Force-sensitive. While the Jedi and Sith were having their eternal lightsaber measuring contest, Zuckuss was using the Force to hunt people down for credits. That's thinking outside the box. Zuckuss therefore immediately stands out from other characters as an insectoid being, forced to use a mask to breathe when outside his homeworld's ammonia-rich atmosphere. So not only is he hunting you with mystical powers, but he's doing it while basically holding his breath. That's dedication to the craft. What exactly is a Findsman? Well, he was a Findsman, a mystic group of Gans, and used his uncanny abilities to track his prey. Think of it as being a Force-powered bloodhound, but with compound eyes and a breathing problem. Zuckuss was a Gand whose Force sensitivity allowed him to sense his prey and determine their motives, earning him the nickname Uncanny One. Imagine being so good at your job that people literally call you Uncanny. That's like being named Spooky Good at murder. The partnership between Zuckuss and 4LOM is one of the most entertaining dynamics in Star Wars. Zuckuss and 4LOM met while working for the Avion-esque Deva Lompop, pursuing a bounty on a well-protected Dr. Kriberus. A mystical insect man and a money-loving droid walk into a bar. Sounds like the setup to a joke, but it's actually how one of the galaxy's most effective bounty hunting teams was born. In battle, he used a knife and a GS-1 snare rifle, styling himself as an expert tracker and hunter. While everyone else is running around with blasters and thermal detonators, Zuckuss is out here with a knife like it's a camping trip. Old school cool. But here's where Zuckuss' story shows his character. In the expanded universe, now called Legends, when Zuckuss was critically injured during the Galactic Civil War, 4LOM stayed with him, helping him find life-saving aid on a rebellion medical frigate. Unfortunately for Zuckuss, the ensuing medical costs were high enough that he and 4LOM had to take a job for the rebellion to pay them back. That's right, even in a galaxy far, far away, bounty hunters have to deal with medical debt. Some things are universal constants. And there you have it, folks. The 6 bounty hunters who stood before Darth Vader and lived to tell the tale. Well, most of them lived. IG-88's status is complicated. What's your favorite bounty hunter moment? Drop a comment below, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the galaxy, far, far away, and remember, no disintegrations. Until next time, may the Force be with you, and may you never have a bounty on your head.